welcome back to my channel. I'm Camille, this is Camille's Country Corner, and today we will be making 3 different recipes. The first one is going to be chicken bone broth. I told you I would let you know how to make that. Real quick, simple recipe. The only time it takes is the time it takes in your Instapot. That's what I'm going to use today. And you can just set it and go on your day, and it will stay on warm for as long as you need it to, until you can put it in your freezer, or if you have a recipe coming up. The other one is a chicken pot pie. I'm getting ready to go out of town, so I am gonna make up a couple of dishes this week, just so my husband has something to eat while I'm gone. My son is going with me to go see my daughter. And then the third recipe is a sausage and potato and artichokes in a chicken and tomato broth. And that is a light summery recipe that you can make under 30 minutes. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you all the ingredients that you will need. Okay, for the bone broth, you will need whatever vegetables you want to put in it. I have today carrot, celery, and onion, some shiitake mushrooms, and about 8 cups of water, and my chicken bone from the rotisserie chicken that I deboned today for the chicken pot pie. All right, let's get started with that. All right, for the bone broth, I have my carcass from my rotisserie chicken. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that in there. You do not need the bottom portion of that. You can just throw it in your Instapot. Nothing else is in here. And when it comes to the vegetables, literally, you can put these in whole or just chop them up in a couple of pieces. That's all I'm doing. Carrots, big pieces. And the nice thing with the onion, you don't even have to take off the peels. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw that in there as well. And I bought these shiitake mushrooms for a recipe for my son. And they're just dehydrated mushrooms. And I really don't like them in any of the recipes when you rehydrate them. I guess I'd rather have fresh. So we're gonna add a couple to our bone broth. And that way it'll give the nice earthy flavor to your broth. But if you don't like mushrooms, just take it out. And I have about 8 cups of water. I'm actually gonna put a little bit more. I'm gonna take it up to the fill line. All right, that ended up being about 12 cups of water. That's the nice thing about the Instapot. You can fill it right up to the fill line. All right, go ahead and put it on sealing, and then depending on what kind of brand that you have, mine is the Instapot, I'm just gonna put it on manual. I have mine already set for 2 hours, 30 minutes. That's usually what I do my bone broth on. You just let it go, and when it's done, it's done. You can just go about your day. All right, let's go ahead and get started on the next recipe. Okay, once the bone broth is made with the 12 cups of water and everything that we use to make the bone broth, we've got 3 quarts of beautiful, delicious bone broth, which at the grocery store, depending on what store you shop at, it could be anywhere from $3 and up each. So definitely worth the time to make it. And you can add your own salt to it. I didn't add any salt and pepper because I will add that whenever I'm making the soup or whatever I use the chicken broth for. Okay, for the chicken pot pie recipe, this one's super easy. This is just a throw together. Throw it in your freezer as a freezer meal, or you can make it any night during the week in less than an hour. Super easy to make. I don't have my cheese out here, but I will when I make the recipe. You will need some cream of chicken, 2 cans, some green beans if you choose, and since we're going to put the tater tots on it, you do not need any potatoes in here. And we've got some rotisserie chicken to make it a lot easier for us on this super simple, easy recipe. All right, for this dump and go recipe, I'm gonna go ahead and add my chicken. Let's grab a scraper. Yet again, I'm always prepared. All right, we are just using some cream of chicken soup here. You can definitely use your own chicken broth, like what we're making in the Instapot. I do have some already made for the next recipe, but let's go ahead and make this one. I am adding some green beans. And some peas and carrots, which I think I forgot to show you that. I don't think I had it out when I was showing the ingredients. But again, here you can add whatever vegetables your family likes. Go ahead and add the rotisserie. Probably should have gotten a bigger bowl. Go ahead and throw that chicken back in. My counters are very clean. I'm going to thin this out with a little bit of water. Probably about 1/4 cup. All right, for mine, I have a 8x11 pan. You can do this in a 9x13. This is just what I pulled out today. And that actually fits in here perfectly. I had a little bit more rotisserie chicken. Let's go ahead and mix that around. Not cooking unless you make a huge mess. All right, so we're going to take our shredded cheese. You can use cheddar. Today I am using Monterey Jack and cheddar. So we're going to sprinkle some all over the top, about 1/2 cup. Okay, and then with our tater tots, mine are just regular seasoned shredded tater tots. All right, with the potatoes, you're just gonna line them up in that fashion. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it just looks a lot nicer if you line them up. All right, this is what it looks like when it's ready to go in the oven. I have a preheated oven at 400. We are going to bake this for about 45 minutes because I like my tater tots on top to be nice and crunchy. So I'll meet you back here as soon as it's ready. Now at this point, you can wrap it and freeze it before you cook it. And just write the instructions for whoever you're leaving it for to bake this. And if it's already frozen, you're gonna wanna bake that a lot longer. Might take up to 1.5 hours if it's frozen, about 400 degrees. And if it's thawed out, again, 400, about 45 minutes. For our sausage and artichoke potato recipe, you will need artichokes. The recipe doesn't call for onions, but I'm gonna add it. We've got some chicken broth and some diced tomatoes. We're gonna add a little white wine. If you don't wanna add the white wine, just use more chicken broth. We're gonna use some little potatoes, but you can use any potatoes, a little bit of thyme, some sausage. I got about half a pound, I think, or maybe a little over half a pound of sausage, some garlic, and some olive oil. That's all we'll need for this recipe. All right, to my pan, I have added about a tablespoon of olive oil. I'll go ahead and throw in my onions. It is not a cooking day unless I burn myself. While the onions are browning, or getting translucent, I should say, I'm going to go ahead and cut up this Italian sausage. I'm going to go ahead and throw those right in here with the onions at the same time. I've left the casings on, but you can definitely take them off. Actually, some of them I'm going to go ahead and pull it off because it's already starting to come off. But I want to leave them kind of whole in here. Perhaps I just needed a better knife. Make sure your knives are very sharp. Most of mine are. You just constantly have to sharpen your knives. Okay, we're just going to cook this until it gets a little bit browned. All right, our sausage is starting to brown. I'm going to go ahead and add some potatoes. I did wash my board. I'm just going to be cutting these in quarters, I think, because I want them to cook pretty quickly. This recipe should only take you about 30 minutes or less. Okay, at this point I am going to add about a half a teaspoon of thyme and about 3 cloves of garlic. I've gone ahead and minced mine already. And we just want to wait for these potatoes to get a little bit brown. All right, the potatoes are starting to brown here. That's the point that you want. It takes about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add some parsley at this point. Probably, if you have fresh parsley, even better. I don't today. I added probably about a tablespoon of parsley. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my diced tomatoes. I have a 14-ounce can. We need about 1/3 of a cup of wine. I'm using a dry Riesling, but you can use any white wine, or like I said, just chicken broth. We're going to let that cook down just a bit. And we need about 1.5 cups of chicken broth. For the amount of time that this is going to cook, that wine will cook down. And you'll just have the flavor, not the alcohol. All right, I'm going to add about 1 cup of this chicken broth. I actually don't think it needs more than that. And then we're going to go ahead and add about 1 cup of artichokes. I have the kind with the brine already in them. Doesn't matter. The recipe that I'm using actually says to rinse them. I'm not going to. I like the seasonings that they put in here. one's really big. All right. We're gonna get this back up to a boil, and then I'm gonna put it down to a simmer. We're gonna go ahead and cover it for about 30 minutes, and then it will be ready. Okay, now that it's done, this is what it looks like. I added some salt and pepper to taste, and a little bit more parsley. All right, let's go ahead and give this a try. Ooh, not bad. It has a really nice flavor. A little bit of tartness from the artichokes, but the diced tomato gives it a nice herby tomato base feel, and the wine just gives it that little bit of perfectness. Now, I used Italian sausage, just the mild, but you can use turkey or chicken sausage to make it a little bit leaner. I do think this is a great spring or summertime meal. It's quick, it's easy, it's light, and I suggest that you make it because I needed to take another bite. All right, guys, if you like this recipe, please subscribe to the channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. All the recipes will be below. Please like us, and we'll have another one real soon. I hope you make this recipe. It's really good. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for stopping by.